Well, a very good evening, everyone. Welcome along to the Sorry, I'm a bit tired. It's just sorting out a few technical issues downstairs. But welcome along once again to the Fournilwrittenalloverit Lockdown Live. We are ready to go. Thank you very much for popping in to see us yet again. And what I'm going to do now is go like that and welcome everyone to the stream face to face. And a very warm welcome to my guests and colleagues. We do have the three members of the crack team are back, and we're going to go with that for a second week running. We'll also be joined by Ollie in a couple of moments as well. He's running late from some socially distanced exercise, I believe. So we're looking forward to him joining us. Boys, while I get my breath back, welcome along. Andrew, any adventures to report from your week in lockdown?
Yes, Tom, I've cleaned the fish tank and put the black bin out.
Brilliant. I thought you said black bins tonight. That was the big build-up all week we were going to have for the black bin.
Black bin put out today, ready for tomorrow morning, 6 o'clock, mate.
In preparation.
Yep, you've got to be ahead of the game, Tom.
That's the way to do it. That's the way to do it. What about you, mate? How you been getting along?
Yeah, good. I trimmed the hedge this week. It's been a big one, been a busy one. Still working, so I suppose I've not got every day to think about things too much. But it's been nice to have a bit of a long weekend, and the weather's been good, hasn't it? So I guess we've got to count our blessings.
We have indeed. Before we get started, a quick word on a certain individual who has been trending across the globe this week, Mr. Cummings. Now, I'd like to bring him up just for the simple reason is I had a couple of questions about it. Andrew, you've just seen Boris have a chat. Yeah.
I didn't see it, Tom, as it goes.
Oh, you didn't see it? You're getting ready?
No, but should we just ask the question?
Well, we can go. I just thought it'd be a good point to start on some current affairs.
Oh, sorry. I thought we were talking football show, Tom.
We are a football show. Do you want Alexander the negatives? Do you want to briefly give us a bit of analysis?
Oh, I don't know. I mean, I don't know his situation. I suppose this is the thing, isn't it? With all these, I mean, the media love to jump on top of it. I mean, to me, it's a little bit frustrating that it's the top point in all newspapers or media outlets today. I mean, it'd be more interesting to know what the R0's doing and the number of infections and whether the recent measures that have been released have reduced or increased cases and all that sort of stuff, really. And that's what I would like to know, rather than did Dominic Cummings break how many rules. And I don't know his situation. Don't have enough information, so I don't really have a view. But I don't know. I think I get to the point where I'd rather the media informed us rather than sort of trying to sell stories on specific individuals, really. Okay,
we'll move swiftly on. I just thought it'd be worth mentioning. Thoughts on the recent design of Pompey's face mask and the pricing. Andrew, very briefly before we went on air, you spoke to us about this. You want to enlarge for the viewers?
Yeah, Tom, I think any face mask is going to be useful going forward, isn't it? So if we've got one with our own club on, that's great, I think. Should we exploit it and make money out of this situation? Probably not is my idea, but my thoughts really, I'd like one, actually, Tom, as it happens. And the money allegedly is now going to Pompey in the community and also to NHS. So I don't see Pompey making any money out of it. I think it's a great. And I'd wear one, Tom. Certainly, if I could wear one and go and watch Pompey next weekend, I would.
And Alexander, negative to bring you in on that one, mate. Would that be a good idea if Andrew wanted to do that?
The rules obviously don't let him go and watch Pompey, but I think getting a face mask with the blue logo on is not a bad shout, is it? I mean, I guess all football clubs will come out with their own in due course. So it's nice that we've sort of started the trend a little bit. There's a couple out there, but not many. And as Andrew says, if it all goes to good causes, then definitely a good thing to set up. And I imagine they'd probably sell 20,000 in the first week.
Yeah, imagine this: you had a bobble out with play up and on the face mask Pompey.
Are you head of marketing?
I'm thinking ahead marketing.
We need to make that happen, don't we?
Well, that's up to Mark Catlin and the gang, isn't it?
And very quickly on the pricing as well, the club have reported that £3.25 is going to be made profit-wise, and £2 of it is going to Pompey in the community, and £1.25 will be going straight to the NHS or a charity that's working through coronavirus, which is completely Perfect.
No, it's the right thing to do, isn't it? So I'm up for it. I'll buy one.
How much are they?
I'm not sure, but I don't really know. I'm not going to guess. Someone already knows in here. They will, of course, let us know, as they always do. Elliot H has come in with a question. Welcome to the stream, Elliot. Thanks for being with us. Plymouth will be a shout to do back-to-back promotions next year with Ryan Lowe in charge. They play amazing attacking football, and he's a coach that's sure to make it to the top. Agree or disagree, Andrew?
Well, Plymouth have played the best football I think they've played for a long time this season. From our friend Tyrrell and Stuart Morrison, people like that we know. They're Plymouth boys, aren't they? Plymouth fans. They tell us that they have been playing great football, Tom. I would say if we don't get out of this division this season, there are some interesting clubs coming up and some interesting ones staying in League One. So be interested. I'd like to see us play Plymouth next season, but I wouldn't want us to stay in this league. So it's a difficult one, isn't it? It's hard to discuss. I haven't seen them play, Tom, so I can't comment. But Plymouth fans are going to say that, aren't they? Because they are. Proof of being the pudding, wouldn't it? Back-to-back promotions is a big ask when you jump up one league to the next, regardless of the level. So I'd like to see it, because nothing wrong with Plymouth and nothing wrong with their fans, and I wish them well.
We've got Plymouth fan Tyrrell's input coming up on the Fournilwrittenalloverit Lockdown Live as well. Darren from the south of France has come in. Thanks for joining us tonight, mate. Play at Pompey. We are going up. Stay safe. Nice and straight to the point. And Darren also saw on Instagram when I posted the BA planes at Bournemouth Airport. He works in aircraft parts, apparently. So there we go. There's something we all didn't know about Darren. A couple of questions about the Bundesliga. Have we been watching it? I can say for myself that I have been. There's a big Dortmund-Bayern Munich game coming up on Tuesday night, which I'm very excited for. Not quite sure who's going to win it. I think Bayern Munich have won it about 28 times or something, haven't they? So they're definitely the Man United or Arsenal of the Bundesliga. What are our thoughts, gentlemen?
I haven't been watching it actually yet. I am keen to probably watch Tuesday nights though as the first game. From what I hear, it's gone relatively well so far. So
in terms of like the application of safety for players and stuff like that.
Yeah, it seems like there's been some decent football. And yeah, obviously this is the biggest game, isn't it, that's been available so far. So yeah, I think Tuesday I will watch, but I haven't yet. I wanted to ask you guys though, on the previous question. Do you think it matters as much what league you're in if your team play fantastic football? You know, like the Plymouth fans team, they seem like they've enjoyed this year, even though obviously they'd love to be, you know, in the Championship or Prem or whatever. But they seem, I don't know, fans seem happy when the team's playing great football, irrespective. You know, we could be in the National League, but if we turn up and get excited every week watching the team, it's all good, isn't it? What do you guys think on that?
Yeah, I agree, Alexander. We like to watch exciting, quality football all the time, don't we? Everyone likes to watch good players playing good football. And I think Luton, Northampton, I'll name a couple of teams. Coventry City this season have impressed me with some of their football, especially in the first game at Fratton Park when we played them. We remember 3-3, great game. Yeah. They looked the outfit, didn't they, to beat? We said that.
That was a ridiculous night, wasn't it? That was crazy.
Yeah, but it's nice to watch, Tom, and I'd like to go. That's what you want to watch, that type of football, isn't it? So I agree with Alexander, and I agree with the Plymouth lad that sent that message in, that if they're playing good football, the crowds will turn up and watch it. They don't have to win every game, actually, do they? As long as you're playing good football and you're wearing the badge, you know.
Would it be a fair synopsis that we play great football, but not as consistently as we'd like?
I think that's fair. I think if you took the season as an average, we have played probably 60% of the season really, really good football, like the Plymouth guy was talking about. And 40% has been, I don't know what's going on.
Yeah.
And there's a difference between somebody winning the league and somebody sneaking into the playoffs, isn't it?
There's your answer from Duncan Hart's coming on that one. And if any of you in the comments have an opinion on Alexander Negative's question on whether you'd watch your club at a high standard of football, regardless and whether the football level that they're playing at is regardless, I would say to answer that is that if you are a fan of a football club and have been all your life, then I don't think it matters what league you're in at all. as having a high standard of football is great, and being in the Premier League Championship is great. But I think the three of us would agree, and hopefully four in a moment, that we've been through enough with Pompey to realise that it's definitely not the league that you're in that depends on whether you have any enjoyment about the high standard of football or not. So that's what I would say to that one. Before we move on, a very good evening to long-term viewer Sean, who's come in once again for the Lockdown Live tonight. So thank you very much for joining us, Mr. Meads, the Bosom Town legend. So a very warm welcome along. But yes, not having fans though makes it really weird to watch. It certainly has seemed to reduce the home advantage. Might help our away form if we have to play it behind closed doors.
Fair comment.
Something that any of you would want to pick up on.
Alexander.
Yeah, no, I think he's right. Like, I think the crowd play. I mean, I suppose the downside is we probably have a stronger crowd at home, so our home advantage, you would think, in that respect, would be stronger than, you know, when we go to a lot of places where there's not as many fans and the atmosphere isn't as strong. But I suppose the other side of the coin is everyone who comes to our ground tries, you know, they're one of their top games of the season, isn't it? So I suppose your point is that it's going to be more neutral if there's no fans, and that has to be the case. I mean, every pitch is the same, so it just comes down to where you feel comfortable and the atmosphere and the pressure that you put on yourself being away. But yeah, neutral grounds or home and away without fans, to me, yeah, makes sense that maybe away form for most teams improve.
Yeah, and it seems that at the minute, it seems like if it goes ahead, we will be playing Oxford United in the first game, and then if we get past that, it's Fleetwood or Wickham in the playoff final, as it were, in an empty stadium. Be interesting to watch for sure. It'll be the first time ever for certainly my history, and I think probably everyone's, even during the war years, probably when the football's being played behind closed doors in those times, the odd game. So I think it's there's Oliver. I think this personally, if you're asking my opinion, I think it'll be interesting. It'll come down to tactics, fitness, and basically team selection and working out what the other team are going to do, because there's no one in the stadium. There's no atmosphere. There's no following of the team. There's no apprehension of other teams. It's going to be like a five-a-side kickabout, isn't it? To be truthful. It's who's tactically not got the tactical brain. You ask yourself, Wickham, Fleetwood, and Oxford managers, have they got a better team around them in terms of management team than we've got? That's the key, I think.
Yeah, we'll take that. Welcome along, Oliver. Thanks for joining us, mate. Again, it's lovely to have you with us. And before we get cracking on a couple more questions that are coming in, we spoke last week a lot about Project Restart for the Premier League and League One and some of the lower leagues. Just your opinion briefly on that one, mate, before we get cracking.
Yeah, well, it's a tricky one, really, isn't it? I mean, I think that we should restart the season. Not restart, sorry, continue the season from where we are. You know, I think that it's important to finish a full season of football is where I'd like to start off, because the fact that, you know, there's a lot of teams in our league, like, you know, I think we've got a game in hand on a couple of teams. I know there's a team below us that got a game in hand, and there's one team that played like 36 games, I think, so they got an extra game. They played an extra game than anyone else. So I know it's on a points per average for away and home, is the way they're doing it. But, you know, you could argue the point, like, if we've played Luton twice, for example, and Luton are the best team in the league, then really is that a fair way of analysing points? Because arguably Luton could beat us both times. And actually a team that hasn't played Luton twice is going to have a better points per game average than us. And there's so little between the teams in our league in points wise. I mean, there's like 2 points, isn't it, between second and eighth? You know, is it really fair to, you know, present a team with promotion or relegation based on an average that isn't really a fair representation of an entire season? I think they could have done it differently. I think they could have taken away domestic trophies next year. So got rid of the FA Cup, got rid of the Carling Cup, obviously the Cabrera Cup and all the other, you know, like domestic trophies in the league, to free up midweek games to create a shorter season, complete the season in time before the Euros and just run it from a later point in the year. So maybe they would have their summer break around about, you know, end of July, start of August time for a month. Then pre-season starts in September, and then the season starts again in October. So run a later season next year, but at least complete the league season for the teams. It's going to be quite tricky. I think with the restart of football, like you were saying, obviously Andrew was pointing out the financial implications and management implications of restarting under, thousands of players that are going to be out of contract at the end of this year. Where are they going to go? You might end up seeing teams like Portsmouth, if we don't get promoted this year, in a position where actually there's a lot of championship players free that we could grab, because we're, financially as a team, we're going to be still, I would like to think, reasonably stable. We've got, Eisner's, a good backer of ours. We've also got a very good club in regards to general support, season ticket purchases, over a lot of teams. But then equally, we probably run a higher budget than a lot of teams in our league as well. It's all quite tricky, really, to see how the implications of restarting the season is going to be for clubs. And as well as that, alongside that, when they do restart football, are we going to be allowed crowds in the stadium? That's going to be a massive thing.
Well,
can you fit 18,000 people into Fratton Park again? Are they going to space seats differently? Are you going to have gaps between supporters for social distancing? How's that going to be managed, and how's that going to impact the team? Because, Crawley, for example, we've been there a few times. They have about 3,000-4,000 people at home. So for them to spread those people amongst the stadium to give people equal space isn't too difficult. Whereas when we sell out every week, we might lose out on 6,000 fans, which is obviously revenue for our club at a home game. And that might impact who we can sign and what our budget is for next year.
Yeah, can I come in there? You take that one stage further. You're right. We don't want to stay in this league, firstly, do we? We want to get into the championship and then have a pick of, they're saying 1,400 players that can be available to choose from, because they'll be out of contracts, and a lot of clubs won't be able to afford to keep them on because they haven't sold season tickets. By now, Pompey would have sold probably 16,000 season tickets by now already, and the money would be in the bank for by the end of this season. So it was, I think, Tom, you said yesterday it was the cup final was yesterday, apparently, the FA Cup final. I think.
It would have been the FA Cup final yesterday, yeah.
At the end of the season, very much, isn't it, for all of us? So we would have sold 16,000 season tickets. So that cash is not in Pompey's bank account, is it? And that's the same for every other club in the country. So financially, you're right, Oliver. Financially, this could be strickling for a lot of companies, businesses, like we said, Fleetwood and smaller clubs that don't get the budget's lower, so therefore they might have a better chance of surviving than perhaps some of the mediocre clubs, But a lot of championships are going to struggle. Certainly, if you can't sell your season tickets, you haven't got any revenue, have you? If you haven't got any business, you haven't got any customers, you haven't got any revenue, you can't actually operate, can you? So therefore, there should be some going out of business, sadly, and there'll be 1,400 players available to choose from, dare I say it, for clubs that can survive it. It'll be an interesting.
Yeah, I mean,
no one knows the answer, do they?
In response to that, I'd say, because the other thing I'd like to say is obviously about, if we do run social distancing in terms of in stadiums, and we then have to split up into, groups of, say we only allowed 12,000 people in Fratton Park as opposed to 18 to 20,000 going forward, how many season tickets can we therefore sell at the end of that? Because we then might lose out on 4,000 to 5,000 season ticket holders next year. Yeah. The season ticket holders are in place currently, like ourselves. Mm-hmm. Are we expecting the club to give us a pro rata discount off next year because we've missed 5 home games towards the end of the season, which obviously have been paid for in this year's season ticket? Well, that isn't going to be paid now. How's that all going to work?
Yeah, I'd answer that, Ollie, by saying I don't think, certainly Pompey fans, myself, you, Alexander, Tomo, obviously, we wouldn't want our money back. We'd rather the club had it for stability and moving forward. For the sake of 100 quid or whatever it might be, we'd rather the club kept it, and I'm sure all Pompey fans would do the same thing. So for us, I don't think it's an issue. For bigger clubs in the Championship, where they've got a lot more season ticket holders, I think it could be a bigger issue for them, for sure. We won't want our money back, will we? If Mark Catlin put it out there, say, you want your money back, we'd all say no, keep it. For the good of the club,
well, I would say there's probably people in different financial situations as well, though, isn't there? There's going to be people that have lost a lot of jobs over this, and during this time, and a lot of those will be Pompey fans, and they might be in a very tough financial position.
Yeah.
Hang on, boys, you're both talking at the same time.
Yeah, I don't think the club morally can go, we will give the money back to some people and not to others.
Boys.
Yeah.
Boys.
Hello. Yeah. Yes.
Boys, hang on.
Yeah.
I've got a bit of a problem.
Can you hear us, Tom?
You have, mate.
Carry on talking. Tom can't hear us.
You keep going. Keep it rolling.
Yeah.
Can I just ask? I don't think we're going to be in a position to have any more than a few hundred people in a football ground till we have a vaccine. I don't think that will be allowed. So at the very best, we're talking the start of 2021. So clubs have to reinvent themselves under some, there's going to have to be, probably what's more important is if like Pompey player is extended and available to all fans who buy a season ticket, is there a price? Is there something worth paying for then? And can they get revenue that way? Or can they sell face masks? Or can they sell merchandise? Or can you support your club in different ways? I think that's where it's going to go for quite a while. I mean, there's probably every possibility that the whole of next season, including this season, there won't be any fans in grounds because mass gatherings are going to be the biggest source of issue. So I don't know. I take both of your points around different clubs and different financial positions, but I think it's going to be probably the ones that are going to be most successful are those that reinvent themselves and use technology to stream games and get people to pay for them that way. And I think we'd all want to do that, wouldn't we, if it was available?
Yeah,
a lot of clubs have already done it, haven't we? We've got iPlayer, which means you can obviously do it, watch all around the world. Charlton do it. I know that because James and Michael, my friends, are Charlton fans. And obviously they can watch it on an iPlayer. So I think most clubs already have that facility.
Yeah,
it just depends, arguably, will they create the same revenue? I know that, we've gone to cup games and, sometimes the cup tickets are quite expensive, aren't they? In honesty, we're paying £30 a ticket in, League One for a cup game. So 120 quid for a whole day out for all of us. Now, are they going to get the same revenue from four of us sat watching it on a TV?
Well, no, of course not.
They're not going to have the same outlay.
Players are going to have to be paid less, aren't they?
But could I just say, sorry, could I come into that? You're quite right, Ollie, but you only get 18,000 watching at Fratton Park, where you might get maybe 60,000 in around the city of Portsmouth area and surrounding around the world.
Think about how many came to Wembley to watch us.
Yeah, maybe you'll get 100,000 watching the game because it's only £4 and they get it on iPlayer. Perhaps, I don't know.
But that facility is already available, isn't it? So we should have those people now already anyway, if that was the case.
Yeah, but the fair comment, but it is a fair bit more expensive, isn't it, than it could be. So Alexander's right. You've got to reinvent yourself with a proper revenue price. It depends. You think boxing we pay per view. That's possibly where it might end up. If you really want to watch that game, you pay each game perhaps, and you pay a premium for that. Like if Joshua was boxing, then you pay the $15.99, or you don't. If Man United succeed, then you might well watch it. I particularly wouldn't, but we would as Pompey fans subscribe to every game, wouldn't we? But there's a question coming in from Sean Mead there, Tom, on this.
Yeah.
Legend. Could you just call that one out, please?
I can indeed. We've got loads and loads to get through, by the way, while we've been talking. So apologies if you've put a question into us, it hasn't been answered yet. We will get through them. Sean says, how do you think season ticket sales will go? I think you've touched on that quite a lot just now as well. But a couple more. Jack AFCB has come in and asking about Haaland's interviews, which I'm not sure if any of you have seen, but questionable on there. But another one that's interesting about Jack is he's a Bournemouth fan, and they've had a couple of confirmed cases of coronavirus from the Premier League second round of testing confirmed today. So would anyone like to pick up on that one and give us a bit of a something to talk about on there?
Oliver the doctor said he should answer that one.
Yeah, well, we know that this morning there was Bournemouth announced that one of their players have got coronavirus again, haven't they? So obviously there's still a situation where, obviously it's still around, it's still spreading in the country, it's still going to be around for a little while. Now, we're obviously not going to go back to any kind of football until it's a safe thing for more than 10, 11 people to be in the same place at the same time. So obviously you've got a squad of 20 people going into training grounds, and, that's going to be something where you can't have 20 people. I mean, you can't socially distance at a training ground. You're all going to be touching the same football or using the same equipment, or it's going to be pretty impossible to get around that until we're in a position as a country we can open that back up again.
The Premier League did introduce socially distanced training where you train by yourself, which is what they have been doing for this week.
Well, yeah, I know my friend who plays for Exeter has been doing the same recently. They've had a pre-season training that they do on their own, and obviously that's sent around. But it's still, as a, you know, at the end of the day, football's a team sport, and you can't have a game without 11 people being on the pitch. You know, if you went to 6-a-side in the Premier League to get games started, would you watch that? You know, it might be quite an interesting dynamic. It might be a bit of fun to watch that for the first time, to see what 6 gets selected for Man United to play against whoever else in the Premier League. It'd be a bit
rather
fun,
unprecedented.
An answer long term. Yeah, it might be unprecedented. It might be something that needs to be done, possibly. You know, to create a change in the sport and make it a bit more fast paced, a bit more interesting, and you know, create another dynamic, like Alex said earlier about, you know, creating another revenue stream. Would you tune in to watch, you know, Man United 6 best players play Arsenal 6 best players in an hour of 6-a-side football as opposed to 11-a-side? Would that be a fascinating thing to watch? Maybe.
Well, interesting. Tom, there's a question from a Posh fan from Peterborough. They've got an
Up the Posh.
Right up them. That's what we say. Can you answer that question, Alexander? What do you think of that?
Do you think Sunderland and Posh and Doncaster could have a chance of getting promotion if this season carry on? Yeah. In short, I mean, anyone has a chance, don't they? If we played all the remaining games, anyone could put a run together. And I think the comment was made earlier, like, so tight in our division, isn't it? So, you know, 3 or 4 wins on the bounce, someone could win the league, and we have that chance as to those guys. So it's difficult. I mean, there has to be a decision made, doesn't there, on a way to move forward. That decision, it seems, has been made. As long as they can get enough players back to training fit and healthy without a sort of spread of infection, I think they'll go ahead with those games, and then we'll see what happens. I mean, yeah, there's certain teams that have been disadvantaged, certain teams that are more advantaged, but I guess we've got to move forward with the decision that's been made now, haven't we?
Yeah, well, it's not final yet, is it? But the decision's been made in the league below us, so perhaps we're going to find it maybe by the end of this week. And then once the guy questioned me, obviously Peterborough played us twice this season, Sunderland played us twice this season, and the other team with which didn't play, Sunderland, Peterborough, and the third one.
Are you typing, Ollie?
No, I can hear a lot of noise there in the background.
Tom, who's that?
That's when Andrew and Tom talk.
Who's that third team, Tom? Posh?
Sorry.
Doncaster. Well, they're 3 good teams. We've seen them all this season. They are 3 good outfits. But if they'd won one more game or drew one more game, then perhaps, or even played one more game, that's the bit that's the rub. They played less games than us, or we played less games than them. Whichever way you look at it, in terms of the numbers, the way it's weighted or unweighted, it's the only fair way of doing it would be that. If it goes the way that the FA are talking about, or the EFL, then Sunderland and Ipswich and Peterborough will end up in League One next season. That's the bottom line.
Okay.
So do they have a chance with it carried on? No, because if it carries on, it's going to carry on in a short-term tournament, isn't it?
Can I move on to a couple more questions? We will definitely be coming back to a lot of these topics. Sorry, you've lost me. Have I gone?
Technical issues.
I hear you.
Can everyone hear me?
Yes, I can hear you, Tom.
Can everyone in the stream hear me? Hopefully. You got me, Alex, or not? Am I gone?
I've got you, Tom.
Ollie, can you hear me?
No, just you and me, Tom.
If you unmute me, it helps.
Oliver's there.
Sorry.
I'm here.
I think, has Alex gone?
I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yeah, okay. I do apologise, ladies and gents.
We're back in the room.
Are we back in the room? People can still hear us in the stream as well, which is good.
Yeah.
Cods Vlogs has come in with a question saying, do you think Fratton will be less of a fortress with no fans there, which I think is quite an interesting one.
I'd quite like to answer that.
Go for it.
If it's all the same. I think it won't really impact us too much. I think personally there's still going to be that atmosphere for teams going home and away, regardless of whether there's fans there or not. There's still going to be the feeling around another football stadium. It's like us in day-to-day life. We go from one place to another, and we go to like a different driving range or we go to a different gym, you always feel a little bit more unsettled when you're in that arena than you do in something you know. So I think it's going to be very much the same still with football. When other teams go away, they've still got to travel, they've still got to stay in a hotel they don't know. It's still a little bit more unsettled than it is being at home. So I still think there's going to be that home and away balance, and it's going to obviously impact teams. I don't know whether, the fans are quite intimidating at Portsmouth, obviously, but I also think that the fans act as a thing that players love to play in front of. I know that, my friend who plays for Exeter, he's played at MK and a few other clubs in his time as well. He loves playing in front of a big crowd. It's one of his favourite games was when he played it against Coventry, because there was the time when Coventry sold out I think it was the Rico back then. It was like one of their last games there, and they sold it out. And he said he played in front of a full stadium, and it was an amazing atmosphere. And what an amazing experience that was as a player. So I think sometimes, as fans, we kind of think the fans are going to impact the game so much. But also, I think in a game like Fratton, a lot of players want to pick themselves up for it because they want to have a good game in front of a big crowd of people. So I don't know whether it's going to really benefit us a massive amount in terms of making Fratton more or less of a fortress when we come back, in honesty.
Do you want to read out your question from Plymouth and Tyrrell, Andrew, or should we go through a couple more from the live chat?
Go ahead, Tom. I'll try and find it.
We've got one in Germany. The stadium without fans has massively made a difference. Only one game in the Bundesliga out of 10 has had the home team win so far. And today there were. Hang on, I'm going to get my facts right here because otherwise I'll get shouted at. Hang on. Today, the results in the Bundesliga: Schalke versus Augsburg was 3-0 Augsburg. Mainz RP Leipzig was 5-0 RP Leipzig. So the away teams are having massively an advantage at the minute. Apart from, it's a feedback from Ollie that he gets. I'm trying to sort it out, but I don't want to mute him and then having to unmute him because it will go if I mute him and then I'll turn him back on. I'm turning back on when he's talking. So what do we make of that, Alex? The fact that away teams are having a much better time in the Bundesliga than home fans, and what implications does that have for the Premier League and for League One?
Yeah, I mean, I suppose there hasn't been that many matches yet, has there? So if that continues over an extended period of time, then it would suggest that each team without the fans there in that atmosphere have a more equal weighting, and the home advantage is less. I don't know. I kind of also agree with what Ollie was saying. It's a slightly different environment, even if you are, I play a lot of tennis, and even though every court's the same, we've got no fans there because I don't play at a good standard particularly. It is more difficult when you're away from home. It will just feel slightly less. I suppose what you see in your peripheral vision, when you're at home, don't you? Know what that stand looks like. What each area should look like, even though you're not focused on it necessarily. And then when you're away, is a slightly different feeling. So yeah, I mean, I don't know. I think personally, the home advantage will be less so if there's no fans, and that seems to be the case in Germany. But you need to see that over a longer period of time.
I'm coming on that one as well, Alexander. I concur with what you're saying. We need to see what happens, but we also have to remember if we get into this playoff situation, it's a neutral ground we'll be playing at, so there won't be any home advantage or away advantage at all. So you won't have the familiar surroundings you talked about for either team. So it should be actually level itself out a little bit. I think Bundesliga is different. They're playing at home, aren't they? And they're playing away at their stadium. So it's slightly weighted in no one's favour, apart from the familiar surroundings in Bundesliga. I haven't seen any of it, to be honest, because I can't be interested. I just want to get our season going again. And as you all know, I only watch one team play football. I'm not interested in anyone else, even on Sky and the main games. I'm not fascinated by any of that. But to that question coming in from Tyrrell, the Plymouth fan, everyone knows Tyrrell on this channel because he's been with us to many games when we played Plymouth Argyle and had some fun with him. There's a challenge on Twitter today where you have to pick 11 players by a manager by using the last 12 FA Cup finalists, using only one player in the final and using each club only once. And he's asked me if I thought that Raphael Sterling should be in there, and I clearly said no. But he said, which Pompey player would you put in into the top 11 players, which Pompey player would you slot in there somewhere out of the FA Cup finalists? Which player would we choose from our 2010 or 2008 FA Cup final? Well, it has to be 2010, wouldn't it? Because it's the last 12 FA Cup finals. Actually, it could be 2008, couldn't it? So which player would we select out of those two teams, 2008, 2010, from our side, to make it into the top 11 all-time FA Cup in the last 12 games?
For me, it would be the guy who hit the winner. I'd have Carnu in.
Would you?
Carnu has got to be in there.
To any team. So talented, wasn't he? Like, I mean, even when he was 40 and he... Sorry?
You would put Carnu in above anybody else, including Pedro, including Boateng, including J-Mo in goal. You put him in, Carnu, would you?
Well, I think from all the other teams, you could find a player that would equal or beat any other player we had. But I don't think there's another player like Carnu. I don't think there's a player in any of those teams with his quality. So I think he would bring something completely different, and would add to that side in ways that we couldn't find another player to do so.
David James is popular.
Yeah, he probably is, Tom, but Alexander's quite right. There's a lot of good goalkeepers in the last 12 FA Cup finalists. So David James wouldn't be the best goalkeeper out of 12, would he? Let's face it, in the last 12 years.
Like you'd have Edison, wouldn't you?
Yeah, of course. Yeah, and I don't know who he's got in there for goal, in actual fact.
Ollie, you got anyone to say on that one? No, I don't think he has.
Go
on. Sorry, mate, I missed the question. I was trying to sort my headset out.
Sorry, yeah.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, we've got you. Should we move on? But we've got Glenn Johnson's a good shout. So much other competition for place up front. Sol Campbell probably be the chance. David James. Anyone want to come back in on that one?
I think we've done that one, Tom.
Cool. Okay.
I'm sticking with my answer, Tom.
Yeah, I'd stick with your answer as well, definitely.
What was the question?
Out of
best Pompey player?
The question was, out of the last, was it 12 FA Cup finalists, if you had to create a team picking one player from each side, who would you pick from each side? And therefore, who would you pick from Pompey's side? Which player from 2008 or 2010 would you pick as your player?
I would go with Diarra.
Did he play?
Funny you should say that. Lassana Diarra's another.
He was in Yeah, he would have joined because he played for us during the Euros, didn't he? The following season.
He was in 10, wasn't he? Yeah.
Was he 2009? Was he?
You'd have Lassana Diarra, would you?
We had. Who do we have? Boateng. Boateng was pretty unbelievable, but he did have a bit of an attitude about him, didn't he?
He missed a pen though, didn't
he? Did miss it.
It was but as an actual.
That is still one of the. He's so angry about that penalty, Dad.
You can pick any player from any team though. You've got to replace. You've
Nico.
got to find Pompey that you can't replace.
What about Big Cranshaw?
Well,
Harry's Cranshaw.
Players in the other 11 teams.
Yeah,
everyone likes a bit of Nico Cranshaw.
Yeah, but Ollie, what we're saying is pick a player that would be better than the other 12 players that could be selected from 12 teams, 11 players from 12 teams. Cranshaw would not be the best midfield player out of what we've got. Took Man United have been there, Man City, all those finalists.
Cranshaw was unbelievable.
I thought you were just asking me who. I think you were just asking me who the best player from Pompey that I would put into a team of 11 players would be.
No, we're saying who would you put in above anybody else?
Who would be in front of everyone else?
Yes.
Well, it's quite. Well, who's the 11 teams that have won it since?
Oh goodness me! Don't ask me that. Someone have to Google that.
I'm on it. Hang on. Just have a chat about some
teams?
players.
It's going to be Man City, Man United, Arsenal, isn't there? Spurs probably.
That. Tottenham haven't won it.
They're probably in the final though.
Well, I've got a few here. I've got Crystal Palace, Wigan. Here we go. Crystal Palace, Wigan, Aston Villa, Arsenal, Hull.
I've got them, mate. They're not like since we've had it though? Have they since we won it?
Last 12 years, yeah.
Okay, go on.
Palace, Wigan, Villa, Arsenal, Hull, Liverpool, Watford, Stoke, Manchester United. But funny enough, they don't mention us in there.
Who would you have from Wigan?
Hull didn't win it, mate.
Exactly. Do you know what I mean? It's hardly like there's a flourish of amazing talent within the pool of players if you can only pick one from each team. So I would
Arsenal
say
have won it
Johnson
4 times since we did.
Johnson was a great right back, wasn't he? We would have had Montari back then. You know, he went on to play for Real, didn't he?
Yeah.
At the end of
No, Diarra went
him.
to Real, didn't he?
Yeah.
I think they both did.
AC
Montari
Milan.
went to Inter.
Yeah, Inter Milan. Yeah.
Montari went to Inter.
Yeah.
Yeah, so,
We,
there's some unbelievable players that we had back in those days, didn't we? We had a massive wage bill, as we all know. But yeah, I think
Harry sorted that out.
You know, we had some. I would say Montari's probably one of my. Yeah, Harry sorted that out. I would say Montari's probably one of my favourite players of that era. So
One of the questions in one of your quiz questions in a minute is based on wage bill. So there's a little teaser to come up. Pompey God has come in with a question. Thanks for coming in. What are your main summer targets for the transfer, for club transfer wise? I think we did speak a little bit about this last week, but very briefly, Andrew, if you don't mind, lots of questions coming in.
Let's pick one player each then. I'm going to go from Dembele from Peterborough, because he played us off the park, that guy. Both times we played them, he murdered us everywhere. He ran the game. I'd have him.
I'd have Jed back.
Oh, big call.
I'm surprised Chaplin.
Connor's a good
shout.
Connor's a great shout.
Chaplin?
Connor Chaplin, there you go. Tom?
Chaplin plays in the Championship for Barnsley, doesn't he?
He's good.
I wouldn't say Chaplin. I'd say we'd have Ben Thompson back first.
Millwall.
Personally.
Yeah.
Good player.
That'd be me.
Yeah, but he wouldn't leave Millwall, though, would he?
Yeah, he will.
Thompson
he loves
good.
it down here. He loves it in Pompey, mate. Ollie, you got one?
Move on.
Okay, sorry.
Well, yeah, I would like us to sign a good striker really, who scores a lot of goals. I know that Marco has poached a few this year, but I'd like someone else to play with him.
So I would start on strikers.
From Charlton, someone like that.
Don't mention the O word, please.
I'll get rid of Ollie Hawkins.
Yeah, please don't get started. Pompey fan 01 has asked, what ground has the best food or food facilities that you've been to? Straight off the back here, not Fratton Park in any stretch of the imagination. Have you ever tried?
Wembley has the best, but it's about 50 quid a burger, and you have to queue up for 2 hours to get one.
Yeah. Probably Spurs has some nice burgers now, don't they? I haven't tried them.
Yeah, they'd be expensive as well, though, wouldn't it?
Yeah,
I have to say, I was fortunate enough to go to a Wembley game in the corporate side. It was Man City Brighton in the semi-final last year, and that was we were like behind the scenes in Wembley, and like they had a massive food hall in there, and the food there was unbelievable. It was just like being in a restaurant in London. It was incredible. Yes. That's got to be the best experience of food I've ever had.
Can I come into this one?
Ground.
Go for it, quick as you can.
Okay, Ollie. I'll outbid you on that one, mate. Plymouth Argyle away. We had a Cornish pasty. Remember that, Tom? Massive Cornish pasty in Plymouth.
I'm trying to think of one, because we've had.
I suppose it is better than Wembley, isn't it? Home Park.
Yeah.
The problem is
Where was it when we did the old and Andrew eat some chips? Where was that?
Rochdale.
Rochdale away. Yeah.
Oh, that was a good one. You enjoyed
good
them
chips.
Very nice chips.
Love those chips.
Nice chips.
No, you've got some chips.
Yeah.
And Alexander the Negative says pig.
To ask that question because we do eat a lot of Toby's, don't we?
Pig.
This is the thing.
Where's the best Toby Carvery then, boys? Let's have that one out while we're here.
Toby Carvery, Morecambe away.
No, not Morecambe away. You having a laugh?
You're not going for Portsmouth then.
Hillsy's not the best one.
The studio.
No, Hillsy's poor.
He's stingy. He just cuts the
right
like that. Looks at you as if to say.
Comments, get in there now. Best Toby Carvery you have been to. I want to see different locations pop up on the screen for Toby Carveries. I'm going to kick it out there now. Paul is the worst Toby Carvery. That ranks
can't hear Tom.
the lowest down. Or can you not hear me? Is this happening again?
No, you're all right. We can hear you.
I can hear you, mate. I'm all good.
Right. Okay. Whack it in the comments right now. We're waiting to see them. But before that happens, there's one in South London. We went to the AFC Wimbledon game. Ollie's gone. AFC Wimbledon, somewhere, I think, was it Merton?
Yes, near Wimbledon, yeah.
Was it Merton? I think that was good. And there's one in a shopping centre somewhere. I can't remember where it was.
Dagenham and Redbridge, that is.
Is that the shopping centre one?
Yeah, near Barking, yeah, in the shopping centre, yeah.
Best answer I've seen so far. Sean Meads, one I don't pay for. Brilliant.
That's about right.
Quality. Apparently the Peterborough Toby Carvery is good. Yes, it is actually.
Yes.
It's a new one.
Yeah,
Like that one. Toby Carvery in Southport is apparently another good one. So there we go.
Why would you go to Southport?
I don't know. Only one Pompey fan 01's ever been to. You need to get in more Toby Carveries, mate. Pompey got to said somewhere in Liverpool. He's been very precise with his description of his favourite Toby Carvery. So there we go. Alex, on the negative, you're going to give us yours, mate, or are you off?
No, I'm not. I'm here for. I've got about 5, mate. I'm going to shoot after that. Maybe that's my favourite Toby. I think I went to Peterborough, didn't I, as well? That was very good.
Good, yeah. Was good, yeah.
Yeah, that is probably the best one, I think.
Tom,
Okay.
I would say my favourite's Exeter on the roundabout.
Yeah, it's a nice one.
Nice one. We're going to very quickly do the quiz this week for Alex on the negative scenes. He's got to go.
Tom,
Okay.
I've also got to go, Tom, so we need to wrap this up quite quickly because I've got to go to Sky News next.
So you got Sky News on the itinerary, have you?
Yeah.
Very quickly, do you mind?
Yes, quickly then.
Very quickly. Okay, it is time for the big Pompey Fournilwrittenalloverit quiz. Alex on the negative, you are first. Are you ready?
I am born ready. Oh no.
Okay.
Where have we gone?
Sorry. Who currently sponsors the Fratton End?
He's logged out. He's logging back in. Can you hear us, Tom?
I'm here.
Utility warehouse.
No, that's not your question.
Oh.
You
I
imbecile.
can't even hear Andrew.
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
We can all hear you.
Yeah, I can hear you. I can hear you. I just can't hear Andrew.
I can't hear Tom, and I can hear Andrew. Is that my question? Who currently sponsors the Fratton End?
I can tell you that.
I don't know.
Nil point.
It was job site for about 20 years. In which year was
what's
Portsmouth
this? Is this
Football
whose
Club
question?
formed?
So who's after that?
1898.
Well done.
92.
You already
Was it
you already
98?
told us the answer, mate. By the way,
1898, is that right?
It's on
Yes.
there, isn't it?
1898, spot on. Last one. Who had a higher
Who had a
transfer
higher
fee in
transfer fee
2008?
Lasana Diarra or Peter Crouch? I think we got Lasana Diarra for 300 grand, didn't we? Harry had an absolute steal on that one. Peter Crouch was something like 7 million. So I'm going to say Peter Crouch.
Wrong.
Oh, no.
Lasana Diarra. He's our highest transfer fee
out of
for
3.
Pompey.
How much?
1 out of 3.
How much?
Oh, I think it's about 12 million quid.
Seriously?
Yeah.
We sold it for 22 though, didn't we?
Yeah, it's ridiculous numbers. Can you still hear me, Alex, or not? Oh, no, he's gone. Okay. He's taken his part. It's between Ollie and Andrew for the title this week. Andrew, are you ready?
Yes, I am.
Ollie, can you all hear us? You all good?
Yeah, I can hear you, mate.
You can still hear us. I'm going to try and get Alex back in. Can you hear us now, mate?
Back in the room.
Got you, mate. Got you.
Cool. Perfect. 1 out of 3. Not bad. Well done. Andrew, who's the only Israeli manager Pompey have ever had?
It was
Easy.
Well done.
Come on, mate.
Well done. Who scored Pompey's first goal on the day David Norris equalised for Pompey in injury time?
I don't think it matters, Tom.
Well, it's one of your questions, so it matters a lot.
It's about the winner, Tom. About the equaliser, Tom. David Norris. Don't. I'm getting excited again. Don't do that to me.
Please feel free to play along in the chat. In the chat where you are, but we'll see who gets the most points.
I was at the game. The only thing I remember about that game was David Norris banging it.
Okay.
I can't remember anything else. Sorry.
No points for that one. The correct answer is Chris Maguire. Who was Steve Cottrell's replacement? Who was Steve Cottrell replaced by as Pompey manager? You don't get a year. You just.
Is it me?
Yes, it's still you.
Was it Alain Perrin, the French guy?
No, Michael Appleton's the correct answer. Andrew and Alexander, the negative, are tied. Ollie, you're up last, mate. Are you ready to go? Or is he? I can't hear him.
Mate, I can't get him. Can you hear me?
I can hear you now. Are you ready?
Can you hear me? Yeah, I'm here. Yeah, go.
Right. What is the colour of Pompey's current third kit?
Current third kit? Is it not the one that Mr. Andrew Chappell is currently wearing?
No.
I believe it's that colour exactly.
It's not.
No, I own it though, and it's not that colour.
Oh yeah. No, you own the away kit, mate.
No, I don't.
Purple's
what is it then?
Kit. Purple's our third kit.
Second, this one.
Pompey's
third kit, Alex.
Pompey's third kit is purple.
Yeah.
Oh, I thought it was grey.
Donut.
Pompey's third kit is purple. 1 point to the Ollie. Andrew.
Well, Tom's wearing the away kit.
Well, this is a couple of years ago. If you need to keep quiet on this one, because you will blurt out the answer as soon as you see it. So leave it to Ollie. Right. Who is the artist who sang Go South?
God. I can sing it to you.
Yeah, that's not what I'm asking for.
There's a team down there.
Oh, no. Down there.
In the Premier.
With a lot of flair.
Go South.
The artist that sang it.
You don't know, mate, do you? Let's face it. Mate.
I don't know. I was going to throw a hazard guess at it, but I got no idea.
Okay, last one. And if he gets this, he's the winner. Which annual day of celebration was also on the same day as Pompey's win in the EFL Trophy in 2019?
Was it Earth Day?
No. Correct answer is Mother's Day.
Should have got that, mate.
Yeah.
Okay, right.
It was a lot less important than the final, wasn't it?
That's why you mum didn't go to the football.
Anyway, I know we've all got places to be, so I want to finish the final one. Just hang on. I need to do some
bonus question.
To do some moderating to start off with. Right, so
is this a winner? Is this a winner gets the answer?
So closest wins to the nearest 0.1 of a mile. What is the distance between the Toby Carvery in Hilsey and the gates of the South Stand at Fratton Park? Now, before you answer, 2 things. Number 1, it is not the most direct route, and it's not as the bird flies. It's the crow flies. And number 2, it's the route that Dad would take from the Toby Carvery. So not the most direct down Milton Road. It's the route down the M275. If anyone wants to hazard a guess in the chat below, please do.
I'm going to say 6.8 miles.
No.
Okay.
I'm going to say 3.8 miles.
Okay.
That's massive.
He takes a very indirect route, mate. He's all over the shop, that lad.
Yeah, I don't think it's not 6.8 miles.
I reckon it is.
Is it?
Well, you put your answer out, son. Don't question mine.
Like 10 minutes. I would say. I'm going to, mate. I'm about to. Don't worry.
Right, we've got.
I would say that route is
6.9,
4.1 miles.
4.
What did Dad say?
3.8. Okay.
0.9.
I can tell you, Sean Mees has gone for 2.7.
2.8,
Cameron Rowe's gone for 4.5. I can tell you that Alexander the Negative is not correct. He is nowhere near. Ollie went for 4.1. Andrew went for 3.8. The correct answer on Andrew's route is 3.4 miles, which means Andrew takes the cushion off Alexander the Negative. Oh, he's got one there, but he takes this one. And until next week, we'll have to wait and see if someone can win that back. There are a couple more questions I wanted to go through. If everyone's got to go, feel free.
Yep.
If anyone can stay, I wouldn't mind taking it. Or we can take them next week for all intents and purposes. That's absolutely fine. We'll do them next week. Thank you so much for joining us. A quick message from Alexander the Negative, who's about to leave us. What would you like to say to the viewers this week, mate?
Yeah, just thanks for tuning in, guys. Thanks for having me on. Obviously, everyone just keep safe and well as well. And hopefully within a few weeks, we'll watch some football.
Ollie?
Thanks, everyone. It's been great talking to you all again and getting back involved with the feeling of Portsmouth. But yeah, iterating Alex, and stay safe, and hopefully we'll all get back to football soon.
Excellent. Andrew, final words, mate?
Tom, let's all just stay safe, mate. Be careful out there, and let's get through this and get back to some sort of normality, isn't it? And yeah, let's move on from there, Tom. I think.
Let's move from there. Thank you very much to all three of you for joining me. Who fancies doing it all again next week sometime? Oh, I've muted them all. They can't respond. Thanks for joining us, everyone. I'll take that as a yes. We will see you next week some point. Let us know in the comments very quickly if you want to see this sort of thing next week as well. But for now, thanks for joining us. Stay safe, keep the faith, play at Pompey, and have a fantastic Sunday evening. Bye-bye.